Hello, everybody. My name is Marko, and I am the founder of non-profit organization Budenje in Croatia. Um, uh, I started that non-profit organization more than 15 years ago, and the reason was because there was no support for people with ADHD, and not only for the people, but for the teachers, parents, whoever was dealing with ADHD subjects. So I had this urge to kind of start giving support and education about people with ADHD. In this talk, I will talk about the importance of education, school education, that has impact on children, especially children that think in a different way. So I can start with a presentation. I hope that we can activate the presentation, because through the presentation I will explain also my role and whatever I'm doing. So okay. Still waiting for the presentation to be on. Just a second. Okay, okay. Oh, we have the presentation. Nice. So this organization has been active for, as I said, more than 15 years, and I will talk about some of the projects that we have been doing in the educational system and how we are trying to improve the educational system and to kind of make it more fun and more playful for everyone, and also focusing mostly on children with neurodiversities. So I will get straight to it. This presentation is mostly about talking about diversity, and just reminding that all of us is different, that we think in a different way, that we have different interests, different capabilities, different things motivate us. We are showing our creative aspects in different ways, and non-human is alike. And this is the presentation, just like a little reminder of that. So when talking about diversity, we also can definitely talk about ADHD aspect. And as you all know, these are the main symptoms of ADHD that are really highly present in individuals with ADHD, like being inattentive, hyperactive, and impulsive. Inattention has also very big impact on people with ADHD, and children and everyone. And that is, they tend to lose focus. They are in their own bubble of world. They are daydreaming. They are not necessarily present in the surroundings. They they lose things. They are usually disorganized. And when you really need to explain inattention, it's like more like them being in a certain bubble and not seeing the world outside of them through that bubble. And sometimes I like to also say that when I was a kid, I used to be a lot in my bubble, and that the real world around me was a huge distraction for my bubble. For example, when I was sitting in a classroom, teacher, she was talking about something, and actually she was kind of very often bursting my bubble, because I was in my own world, and she was that noise at the background that you can kind of hear some people talking in the background. You really don't understand what they are talking, but you hear this noise. And it's actually my teacher. She was the noise. And however, as we all know, in the school system environment, we should be very attentive of the things that are around us. We should follow the rules, memorize, write down, and for me, I usually like to say that my inner world was such a strong thing that it was impossible for me to turn it off, to make it silent, in order for me to listen or to see what is going on around me. So inattention has a really big impact on people with ADHD. We have the hyperactivity, like being very hyperactive, always on the go, having this extra amount of energy. And with hyperactivity, we have usually impulsivity combined with hyperactivity. But what I really would like to emphasize, and that is one word that for me the best describes ADHD, and that is stimulation. When we are stimulated enough. So people with ADHD need stimulation in order to function, in order to focus, in order to show their true potential. So stimulation for people with ADHD is like a fuel, like a gasoline for a car. So if you have a car and you don't put a gas in the car won't go anywhere. You can sit in a car, see the car, touch the car, but you cannot really see its full performance, how it drives, how it brakes, and everything. That is the same thing with people with ADHD. If their brain is not stimulated enough, they cannot show their true potential. Usually, like for example, how do we get stimulated? We get stimulated just by doing something that truly interests us. If I'm very interested in something, that's something in a way kind of gets attention of. So that interest in a way like wakens up my brain, and all of a sudden I see more clearly. All of a sudden my thoughts are more organized. I am able to control my thoughts. I am able to really go way deeper into the subject without losing the thread of my thoughts. So if I am interested in something, stimulation can also be if I'm in the move, if I'm walking, if I'm physically active, if I'm somewhere. For example, right now I am in Japan. You don't see much of the Japan because I'm in this little booth, but that is me being on the go, traveling brings a lot of stimulation to me, and that is even in some weird way helping me to be more productive, to think more clearly about certain things. And usually people that don't have ADHD, stimulation also helps, especially if they're doing something that interests them. But people that don't have ADHD, they don't need that stimulation as much. So even if something is boring for them, they still can kind of stimulate themselves in order to, for example, read a book that is boring to them, or listen to someone talking that is boring. So even though it's boring, does not provide enough of stimulation, they can understand, and they can mentally understand what is going on. With people with ADHD, if we don't get stimulated enough, our brain does not wake up, and therefore we miss a lot of things going on around us. And this stimulation actually quite is well seen in children that, for example, they can play their favorite video game for hours and hours. But then if you take the child and said, okay, now please write your homework, and then you will see that that child cannot focus even for 2 minutes. And the whole day passes like 6 hours, and that child has not written a single thing or have done a single thing regarding the homework. So it's not that the child has decided, okay, I don't want to do that. It's more that that the video game provides a lot of stimulation that wakes up the brain, and all of a sudden they can really show their true potential. But with the homework, it does not provide a lot of stimulation. And no matter how much they want to do the homework, no matter how much they are telling to themselves, okay, I need to do it, they simply cannot. So it's not a matter of will, it's more like a matter of lack of stimulation. And for me, that stimulation is the best way to kind of explain the whole ADHD as it is. I will move now to the, just to say some brief things about me and my story, like why I started doing what I am doing. It's simply because I had a lot of problems in my school years. I was a very bad student. I was disorganized. I was not paying attention. I was always like one of the worst students in my classroom, and that affected my confidence because I didn't know what was the reason. The only explanation was coming from the outside, from the teachers, even from my parents, from my friends, like you don't study enough, you don't work well enough, you are lazy. And by listening usually to those comments, I started to develop this very bad image of me and my and usually of myself, and my confidence started to drop down, and I started to create a persona and personality that actually I did not like. And school for me was really, I would say, one of the toughest periods of my life, especially the high school. When I entered the high school, I was relying very much on other people because there will be, it was easier for me to kind of just use my cheat sheets or to copy from someone, and then to really kind of learn something. And I simply couldn't, and that created a lot of self-doubt. I became a huge inner critic for myself, and that's changed when I was 22 years old, and my friend told me about ADHD and that I might have ADHD because I was struggling a lot. And I Googled, and I saw all the symptoms, and I as if someone was as I was reading my whole life, all these negative traits of me on that website, and I realized, oh my God, like I might be having ADHD, and I started to explore more of ADHD. The more I explored, the more I understand myself, and the more actually I understand that the school and school educational system in which I was growing up was not supportive, and that I needed the stimulation, but I was lacking the stimulation. Therefore, at the age of 22, I thought that, oh my God, so maybe if I have enough of, if I create enough of stimulation in my life, maybe I will be able to perform better than ever in my life, better than in my school years. So I started to kind of focus more on the things that I was passionate. And at that time, my only passion was ADHD, understanding what ADHD is, understanding through that how I function. So I went digging, and through that digging, I actually saw that I was kind of looking to find my deficit. I was looking to find my disorder, but through the digging, I actually found completely different world, and that was the potential, that was the creativity, and that was all the good things that were not visible in the school system, and that I stopped believing in, and then I realized that actually I function in a different way, that I don't function like everybody else, but I need some certain things in my life through which I'm able to perform best. And then I realized that my story was not this. That my story was not unique. That many of individuals similar like me have very similar stories. Like they have certain potential, they have certain capabilities, but they become invisible in environment that is not supportive. And that's when I saw. We can go back to the presentation now, and that's when I saw this like a big group of people, statistically looking, a huge amount of people that are functioning in a different way, processing information in a different way, and they found out about this neurodiversity. So neurodiversity, that actually explains people that functioning in a different way. They don't have necessarily a negative things about them, but they're functioning in a different way. And in order to help them, is not much focusing on how they can be repaired, but more on environment in which they have to exist and perform. So neurodiversity as such was something that really caught my attention, and I started to explore more. This also, I would say, very good. It represents the educational system as such, and you see an image, and there's a teacher, there are the students, and the teacher says to the students, for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. And you can see the monkey is about to start doing that action, but then you see the fish being very confused, the elephant, the penguin, everybody are confused and thinking, how am I be able to do that? And that image actually quite very nicely explains the educational system that is kind of really focused on the same abilities, same traits that humans should be having, but actually they are not. They're functioning in a different way, and that difference is usually not visible. And therefore, we have many students that are struggling, many students that are not finding their confidence, not because they have a certain disorder, but because they are functioning in a different way. And in order for those students to have a certain support, unfortunately, many of them need to be labeled as a deficient, labeled as something is wrong in them. As soon as you are labeled like that, then you have the right to have the support. And what I'm trying to actually do is to show that the learning difference is not a learning disorder, and that every child has a right to have the support without necessarily first being shown as a deficient or as a goods with a mistake or something like that. So there was so there was a survey from it was, I think, in late 90s or early 2000s was being done, and they wanted to see it was done in schools, in American schools, and they wanted to see, the researchers wanted to see how much creativity is being accepted within the classrooms, and they wanted to see how teachers respond to creative students, and they went with the surveys, and they asked teachers the question, do you want to have creative student in your classroom? And of course, the most common answer from the teachers was, yes, of course, we would want to have a creative students in a classroom. And so then the researchers gave them the survey to see how much they're accepting the creative students, and the teachers needed to circle the behavior that they found the most reluctant, the behaviors that they found the most disruptive in the classroom. And the results were actually quite surprising. I would say mostly surprising for the teachers, because what survey showed is that although the teachers wanted to have creative students, actually they did not want to have, because what the teachers found the most disruptive behaviors in the classroom were the same behaviors that were associated with creative behaviors. And as we can see here, those are those behaviors like impulsive, taking chances, free cycles, independent, being highly emotional, questioning authority, is individualistic. And as you can see, those are the traits that are very, very correlated with creative behaviors. And so this was the result of this survey, and that is the judgments for the favorite students were negatively correlated with creativity. Judgments for the least favorite students were positively correlated with creativity, meaning that although the teachers wanted to have creative students, actually they did not want to have. This is not to show that the teachers were bad or they were not professional, but it just, I would say, show that the school system is lacking the flexibility to support the needs of the creative kids. So in which direction can we go, or can we approach the school educational system? And I would say one of the first things that you need to do when approaching the school educational system is its foundings. So the core, and that is the playfulness. So researchers have shown that children and individuals learn the best when they play, when they are being playful, when they're in this energy of playfulness, where they are more in the flow, and through that playfulness, the brain has the best capacity to learn and to absorb new things. And the new things that are being absorbed is not only through the level of memorizing something. It is usually at the level of truly deeply understanding what you are learning. So that's what kind of we have done some little projects to kind of really incorporate that playfulness in the school system. And since we work a lot with parents that have kids with ADHD, one of the most common problems, I would say, problems that parents were having was writing the homework, because the school would finish, the parents would come home after work, and then it was the homework time. And that homework took many hours, took a lot of stress, took a lot of energy. A lot of fights were happening because the kids were not focused enough to write the homework. Then the parents needed to help the kids to write the homework. So actually the whole concept of homework were taking a lot of energy and bringing a lot of stress into the home environment. So I saw also somewhere that if you put a lot of things for the brain to do, if you overwhelm the brain with certain things, the brain stops learning. So in order for the brain to really get into the phase of learning rapidly, brain needs to be kind of decluttered, needs to have freedom, needs to have emptiness. And what we did, actually, what I did through project was we invited in Croatia. I did a Facebook challenge for teachers, and I called all the teachers throughout the Croatia to stop giving homework for 30 days. So 30 days, stop giving homework to your students. What we wanted to see is how is the level of knowledge of the students after 1 month. Is it going to drop? Is it going to go be better, or is it going to be equal? Like, what will be the result? Is the homework really that necessary? And that challenge actually became viral in Croatia because it was mentioned in many newspapers, in many television channels. I would say that almost all schools knew about that, because it actually was a very fun challenge, and it was very, I would say, educational for the school system, just to see, okay, let's try something, because teachers are always saying for the students you need to learn something, but this was the moment where teachers could show that, okay, if I don't do something new, I will never learn. So this was the moment for a teacher to show, okay, I want to try something new, and from that experience, I will gain some knowledge that will make me even better in my work. So we were really kind of trying to push teachers to get into that challenge. And it was Facebook challenge because we created a Facebook group through which we invited all the teachers that were in that challenge, and in that Facebook group they were able to share their experiences, to share their pictures, or so that we can gain more momentum of that. So it was a mainly newspapers, as you can see, and then we had a survey was done. I mean, the slide is a little bit off, but I think it because it changes. I uploaded here to StreamYard, but it changed a little bit, so never mind. I will say what it writes. We had feedback, and we ran a survey, and through that survey we wanted to really see what was the feedback from the teachers. And so this was the result after 30 days without the homework. It stated that level of knowledge stayed the same of the students. The students became more motivated, more creative, and more engaged in class. Students showing more interest in classroom activities and helping others, because it was a logical association that when the teachers were asking students, did they write the homework or show me your homework, that situation disappeared from the class, which means that also it took away the stress moment from the classroom. So there were less level of stress, and of course it also impacted the home, the environment that says that the student had more quality time to spend with their parents. And up to this point, there are still many schools and many teachers that are practicing this. And we wanted to show that to kind of, when you release the activities and homework and things you need to do, when you drop that down and allow a brain to just kind of stop and be in silence, in emptiness, through that emptiness, brain will learn way more. And so we were really trying to incorporate more playfulness into the homework, so that the homework is not something, oh, I need to do, it's a burden, but the homework is more something, a fun activity through which I will have more fun and enjoy more. So that's what was our gain. And actually I would say that we have kind of completed that we have kind of like educated and showed more for the teachers. This was also very interesting. Show that in Google they wanted to see who is the most effective team with the most productivity and most creative ideas. And usually the logical thought would be that it comes from the STEM people, so technology, engineering, mathematics, from these areas that the most creative and most smart projects are coming out. But in Google they did a research, and they showed that actually the teams that are the most productive and most creative are actually the teams that are having these elements. And that is having the equality, generosity, curiosity towards the ideas of your teammates, empathy, and emotional intelligence. Meaning that the environments in which you are free to be yourself, environment in which you are not afraid to ask a question, in environment in which you are free to be foolish, to be whatever you want to be, is the environment that makes you most productive and most creative. And it's stated that it's environment that has the emotional safety without any bullying. So that is usually the environment that fosters and produces the most like brilliant products and productivity from the teams. Having that in mind, we also wanted to focus more in that direction, and So it was like how to cope with stress. And believe it or not, but kids with ADHD are in a highly stressed environment when they're in school, when they're usually being overall more criticized than other children. And nobody is actually teaching those children how to cope with stress, how to minimize stress, how to understand if they are in the level of stress, what is stress, and that is actually one of the most basic things in order to function in the proper world, to manage that, to understand that, and to have tools to minimize stress, and the research showed that one of the most effective ways to minimize stress is through the meditation. And that's what we also did. We invited teachers throughout the Croatia for a 30 days challenge, and we invited those teachers that already knew how to do meditation to do meditation in the classrooms with the students and to show their results in the Facebook group through which we wanted to gather all those teachers that wanted to share their experiences, so that other teachers that were maybe thinking, should I join or not, they were more motivated to join this challenge. And that challenge was also like showed in many newspapers around the Croatia, and the results were, I would say, amazing, because up to this point there are also many teachers that are actually doing that meditation in the classroom, and that actually like when the teachers are kind of helping students to calm down, to kind of empty their minds, and through that state of calmness and peaceness, start the day, start the activities throughout the day. And there is no better way to learn or to grow other than through this meditation. Then we did that last. Actually, yeah, it was in April. No, not last. Actually, April this year, we started another challenge. That was challenge for teachers as well, and we invited all the teachers to kind of create the soft corner in the classroom. So, because we all in Croatia, usually how the day starts is that the children go into the classroom, they sit on these wooden chairs in the wooden desk, and that is how they start the day. So we wanted to kind of like shift a little bit things up and invite teachers to kind of create a corner, so that in one corner they throw blankets, they throw pillows, in which every morning the kids will gather, they will sit, let's say, in a circle on these pillows, on blankets, and for like 10-15 minutes they will just say hello to each other. They will just say how they sleep. They will just share what's on their mind. They will say hello to the day, to the new victories that are about to happen in the day. Like, so they will talk about things that are necessarily not related to the schools, to the obligations, or those heavy stuff. They will just share things that are light subject, that will kind of ignite your fire, and that will probably make you feel better. So I also invited teachers to join the challenge and to kind of create something like that, and start the day in a completely simple way, natural way, create the positive emotions in the kids. So that is the base, and through that base you start the day. And it also kind of was, I'm very proud that it was, you could see the pictures. We invited teachers to join the Facebook group, and in that Facebook group teachers started posting pictures of their classrooms, how they are doing these circles in the morning. And I do believe that it was like for some students a big change, because big change in school does not have to be big. It's actually very simple and small, but that simple and small actually can turn your whole day totally in a different direction. So I do believe that in order to change the school system, you don't need to like make some huge big investment or whatever. It can be those simple little ideas that are very easy to implement, that everybody is very logical, it does make sense, and that has this, I would say, like tsunami type of the energy when everybody hears like, actually, yeah, I want to be part of that. I want to, if I'm a teacher, I want to have I would like to provide my students with that experience, and we just sit and share and maybe laugh, somebody tells a joke, and this is how we start a day, because school itself is should be a place where we feel emotionally safe, where we really feel emotionally safe, and where we can express ourselves. So that project is still going on. We hope to have that in almost every school in Croatia, and in every classroom, so that it is default settings of every classroom in the Croatia. And what also we have done is, actually we are still doing, is to be also implementing all these things into the school, because schools should not be a place where I get information, because maybe you see this, I don't know if you recognize, there is a phone and it has more knowledge than all the libraries combined in the world times 20. So whatever I need to know, whatever I need to get, I have it here. So the world has changed. We have entered a high technological era, especially now the AI, and what we need to focus more is not on how to learn specific information, how to memorize information. We need to know how to build confidence, how to understand ourselves. What are our good traits? What are our bad traits? In which areas are we good? In which areas are we not good? And we have started with implementing assistive technology in the school. This is called like a biofeedback technology, through which many children can train their cognitive abilities. They can really train their focus, and through a specific time they can really improve their focus. They can minimize their impulsivity. They can train how to better control their internal impulses, which means that their impulsivity goes down, and it makes them overall a better thinker, better learner. It increases the social skills, and what we have done is that in Croatia we have already put that technology into 40 schools, so 40 schools, and we are planning to do even more. And what that allows is that that allows schools to have a really effective tool to help kids learn better. A really effective tool to help kids train their cognitive abilities. So with doing so, what we really want to do is to have this training of mental capabilities to be part of the school curriculum. So, for example, you have a 1 hour, you have a class of mathematics, then you have biology, then you have a gym, you go to exercise, and then also within your curriculum you have a time through which you are practicing and training your cognitive capabilities, and therefore you are growing. So you are really improving yourself, because what happens is, usually when a kid is having a problem, that kid after some time is being went to psychologist, then psychologist says, okay, there's something wrong, there's something off. Then the kid is went to some clinic where assessment is being done, and then through that assessment they say, okay, you have ADHD. Then with that ADHD, you have to then go further to some therapies or something that might help you. What we want to do is those therapies to become part of the school system, a part of the school curriculum, so that actually I'm not wasting my time memorizing information that I can find within minutes, within seconds on the phone, but that I'm really improving holistically my whole body and my whole mind. And I do think that that should be a part of the school educational system, that it should be part of the curriculum, all the therapies, all the treatments and everything, that it should be implemented and part of the school. So far we have 40 schools involved in this, and I'm just waiting a break point when there'll be enough of the schools that we can really make an important story and take some lessons out of it, and maybe really push that whole thing in the schools. Yes, so I have come to an end. This was kind of very in short terms showing you what we have done and how we are slowly building education that fits all, not only specific portion of the human individuals, but everyone. So thank you for your time. If you have any questions or any comments, you are free to ask. Yes, we have someone from Greece, from UK. Yes, ADHD Hellas. That's very. I was in Greece as well many times. Had the opportunity to speak there as well. Yes, I'm here. Yes, we are here. We are waiting for the comment. If you need, you can just type your comment or question. If not, it's okay. Yes, and the teachers have difficulty understanding children's needs. Yeah, I mean it's yes and no. If they don't have a proper information or education, then they will maybe have wrong expectations of the children. And I was I was I was I was able to go like only in Croatia in like more than 500 schools. I was like giving talks and actually educating teachers, and usually within one classroom there will be a specific percentage of the teachers that will not understand, and even if you draw them or however you explain them, they will not accept what you are saying. But it's not about them, it's about the other percentage of the teachers that have the capacity and that are really doing that job because they really want to do that job, they really want to make a difference, and that is the population that you want to aim. And through that population of teachers you can kind of influence the less influenced teachers in a way. And usually those are the teachers that can hear you, that can understand you, are the ones that are making the important change. So as I said, it's very important to share and to kind of usually when I go into the schools, what I also do is I share my personal story, my struggles. So I explain ADHD through life stories. I don't just talk about the symptoms and the facts. I mostly talk about like life struggles that are very connected with those symptoms, so they can be they can understand it way more easily, and they can really feel through the emotions some of the struggles. So that can be very, very effective. So action. Thank you very much. Thank you much. If this is if there anything else. Yes, I also think that, you know, being a teacher is more like a calling than a job. You know, if you're going to be there working as a job, you won't be good at it. You really have to be beyond the paycheck, be beyond your time schedule, which is asking a lot. But there are individuals and there are people that are really making the change there. So thank you all. If there are not other questions, you can visit the website adhdeurope.eu, and if you want, you can also donate to ADHD Europe. If not, you can share this to other pages and blog posts. So thank you.